Welcome back to episode 2 of the Baitshop Banter Podcast. I'm Captain Phil.
Captain Bob.
And we are here today to talk to you about all things fishing in Clearwater, west coast of Florida, out there in the Gulf of America, and inshore, and everywhere in between. Yes.
Yeah, ponds.
So, what's that?
Ponds.
Ponds. We can talk ponds, too.
Well,
Little ditch pickle fishing?
Well, I don't know. Go get some tarpon.
Oh, yes. I have a secret spot or two.
Oh, boy.
We'll have to do that sometime and then talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
It's fun.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
Nothing.
I got a secret spot where I catch these micro tarpon like this. They're awesome.
I got a place so I can go cast that mullet in a pond and the snooker this big.
Oh, that's fun. Cool little snook. Today we're going to talk about gag grouper season coming up. Snook season's opening up as well. We're going to talk to you about our rigs and things that we like to do, give you guys some insight and get yourself ready to go for those seasons coming up, since gag grouper season is a big deal around here. Thanks to FWC, they've limited us a little bit this year to only 14 days of gag grouper season.
They did
So,
the same thing last year, too.
yeah, it's one of those things. We like the 6-month season, not the 2-week season.
Even if they didn't open it up in June, they saved until like October through the end of the year would be a little bit better.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I like the colder weather. I believe it brings the gags in closer because I start catching them inshore during that time of year.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're always there. I just think that they're more active in the wintertime.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, they get angrier.
Yeah, buddy. In fact, one of my favorite spots of gag grouper fishing I can see from right here. So I'll have to show him.
Boy.
We'll have to see if Bob can get one out of the hole over there, which nobody has, even with 100-pound line. So we'll go have a good time with it this year. We're going to talk about that today. We are going to get rolling here. So a little bit of a sad day in the fishing world, especially Florida fishing. We lost a couple legends and local heroes in the last few days here. So it's a little sad, but pay homage to Flip Pallet. I watched him growing up with the Walker's Cay Chronicles every Sunday on TV. I've watched him with his fly fishing.
I got to meet him a few times.
Did you?
Yeah, I was part of TFO for a while.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so I met all those guys. I met Lefty Craig. I met Flip. Bunch of nice guys.
Yeah. Yeah, really great
Good
fishermen.
Good rods, too.
Yeah, really great rods. TFO, Temple Fork Outfitters, great rods. Mostly fly fishing gear, but
Yeah.
they do a great job. So a little sad, lost Flip, but he's up watching over all of us as one of the now fish gods. Also locally, we lost a couple other guys this week. Eric Whitted died, I think it was yesterday. So cheers to Eric and the white boots and all the big snook that he caught. And just found out today that Jason Stock also passed. He was one of the great offshore captains out of Sarasota. Recently was down in Key West guiding out of there and was coming back to Sarasota, and unfortunately he's gone too. So his boat and his business name was the Full Send. So cheers to the Full Send and cheers to the other guys and Flip. We know you're watching down on us. We'll see you. All right. With that going on, I'm going to be the feature interview today. Bob's going to interview me and ask me some questions. And then after that, we'll jump into some specifics about gag grouper and snook. All the juicy details we can give you to make the best out of your seasons this year. So we'll give it all to you, Bob.
Don't give it all to me, because it won't end well. All right, Phil. How did you get into charter fishing then?
Yeah, so I'll try to give the Cliff Notes version of this, but basically now one of my good friends came to me and he was like, what do you want to do the rest of your life? You know, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And I said, man, if I could go fishing every day for the rest of my life, I'd be a pretty happy guy. And he's like, let's make it happen. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what am I getting into here? So I guess that was, long story short, I started doing it because that's what was my passion. That's what I wanted to do. I fished my entire life, bass fishing all the time up north in Ohio. We fish rivers for smallmouth. Down here, I fished for, mackerel, snook, and redfish as a kid growing up, and flounder, a lot of flounder. And it was always a passion.
I can't figure them out here.
Well, I could tell you a whole story about flounder, but we'll wait on that till another day. But I wanted to do it. I was working in the hospitality industry in hotels and restaurants, and I said, peace out, Boy Scout, I'm going fishing. So I've been fishing for the last 7 years, and it's been a wild ride, man. Ups and downs of this business are pretty awesome. Some days you want to quit, getting off the rip, and other days you're like, I could do this every day, every minute for the rest of my life.
Did you want to do inshore or offshore though when you started?
So when I started, that's a really great question. I really wanted to be offshore.
Yeah.
I love the offshore bottom fishing scene that we have here, if you will. But then I got into the part where you have to spend, at the time, it would have been $25,000 to $30,000 in permits, and I didn't really want to swallow that pill. That's a big pill to swallow. And I didn't know about leasing and things like that at the time. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to stick within 9 miles and I'll be good. So I've been doing that since, inshore and nearshore stuff. And I'd love to have a permitted boat to do more stuff out there a little bit further. Obviously there's a lot of money in red snapper going out and stuff, but getting out in that 12 to 18 mile range, man, we have such a great fishery here for that.
Yeah, there is. There's a really good fishery out there, and I'll be honest with you, my half days in the summertime, we just drive around until we find something that looks cool.
Yeah, that's all you really have to do. Yeah.
You're like, that's a cool ledge. Let's try that one.
Let's try that one, yeah. I did that the other day. I was fishing yesterday. I was out within 9 miles, obviously, and I'm just like, oh, that spot looks good. Let's fish here. The guy brings up a cobia. I'm like, sweet, that works. Do that all day. So.
All right, so depending on the time of year, what's your favorite thing to fish for? Inshore. Let's just
let's just keep it.
A redfish or a trout. No,
so
exclude the cobias for now, because I know you like them too.
I like to say trout pay my bills, right?
Well, that's like us with grunts.
Yeah, it's like you guys with
grunts.
grunts.
Keeps the bills away.
Yep, and I'm the same with trout. You catch 30, 40 trout a day, your day's made. You've done a great job. If it was up to me, I would beach fish for snook year round. I would sight cast snook on the beach because it's either going to be the most fun you could ever have watching that fish chase that bait down. The way that I hook them, I can talk about that when we get into our snook segment, my baits, and the way that snook hit them, it's just, to me, it's as good as like a topwater hit fishing for bass. And then the fight, using TV drag, real light drag, and those fish, they can run a mile down the beach for all I care, and we're still going to get them almost every time.
There's no structure really to hold them. Unless you're fishing a jetty.
Yeah, that's a little different. I'm not talking about that kind of fishing. That's different.
Like front beach.
Yeah, front beach.
With the family.
Yep. Where people swim, the snook are there. We flip baits up to them, watch them explode on it, let them run. In the water, especially off Caladesi, is perfectly clear.
Yeah.
So it's like the coolest thing, watching these snook fight, and they jump, and it's like, man, to me, that's where it's at.
And that's obviously that's your favorite thing to do, but how close to the beach are you getting?
Ooh, he's got questions now. Now you're getting a little detail. I like it. So
are we talking like I could throw a rock at the beach, or like I could get out and walk to the beach?
You could definitely walk to the beach where I'm fishing.
Okay.
What I try to do is most of those snook are where the waves are breaking almost. So that little last trough before it goes right up on the beach.
Water where the flounder like to hang out.
Yeah, right in there, your northeast flounder. And I like to stand about as far as I can cast a bait the way that I have the baits and my rig set up, where the bait can land. If it needed to land on shore and I can drag it back in, I'll do that. But if I need to just let it fly and plop, it's fine. Certain ways to do it. Way ahead of a school. See a school moving, I'm casting way out in front of them, and we'll let that bait flounder up there, and he's just going to flicker, and those snook come right to it most of the time. But yeah, we're talking, this far from shore.
Okay.
That's where the snook are hanging out. That's where I like to fish for them. So the boat is in 3.5 to 4 feet of water.
So that's where the power pole comes in handy.
Yes, Raptors, Minn Kota. But that's what I like to do. If I could sit there and fish for beach snook, I don't even care if they're dinks or you get a massive one.
So I tell everybody, listen, you're
beautiful.
having a good time.
Yeah.
That's all that really matters.
Yep. I'm here for that. I think that's probably my favorite fish to fish for.
What's your most memorable one that you've caught? Let's say your most memorable snook. We'll start with that one.
All right. So I'll tell the story.
That you've caught personally.
Yeah. Personal snook. So my biggest one that I've caught, me and a good friend of mine, we landed both our PBs on back-to-back casts.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty epic. It was at night. It was in like the middle to end of April, and we were night fishing under the Sankey Bridge. Don't care to tell about it. Doesn't bother me. And we were drifting pinfish just right around a rip on the fenders, and a bigger split shot, like a size, I guess it'd be like a size 1 or size 2. And we just drift the pinfish back. He'd go right around the fenders, and you would just get freaking plowed. They were both, we didn't have a true measuring tape, but they were both in the 43 to 44 inch range.
Nice.
Mine was so fat though, I'd probably look at mine about a 35-pound snook. And we're using tarpon gear, like we knew they were there, we knew what we were doing.
It's funny because actually that kind of fishing, I can relate to that. Striped bass fishing, that's what we do with eels.
Yeah.
You drift an eel across the bridge.
Yep, right in the bridge. There was a shadow line. There used to be a light there, and those snook have gone away because that light's not there anymore. But you just drift that pinfish around the curve, and boom! It's just unbelievable how strong those fish are there. A lot of fun. That was my most memorable catch on big snook for sure. We've had some other pretty cool ones. I'll tell you one more story real quick. So Evan and I were fishing on the jetty, and we were fishing for snook this year, and it was, the beach was packed. I think it was a holiday weekend of some sort. I don't know, middle of summer or whatever. And he's over there, and he gets a big one, and I hook one, the client hooks one, and we're both sitting there fighting 37, 38-inch snook, and the whole beach is watching us fight these snook. And Evan gets his up, and I get mine up, and we get these fish in, and we both just raise the snook up in the air, and the whole beach is going ape shit, cheering for us. It was the coolest moment ever. It's like, you never really picture fishing as a spectator sport unless it's like, Bass Pro or whatever they call it, Bass events or whatever, and it's like, we don't get that down here that often. So to sit there and have a beach full of hundreds of people cheering for you, I mean, that was
pretty cool.
Pretty freaking cool, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What's your most memorable tarpon? I know you're a big tarpon guy.
I like to fish for tarpon. I mean, I think any tarpon's special. Like, you catch plenty of them. My most memorable tarpon, though, is right up there on the wall. That one right there. It's a replica mount. We don't actually kill them.
Gray's taxidermy.
Yeah, that was Gray's taxidermy. Yep, we do business with them. Both of us do. Great people. But that one was on fly. That was in Homosassa, guided by Captain August Cook up there. Wonderful guide, knows what the hell he's doing. Great friend of mine. And we agreed we were going to fish for tarpon until 5 o'clock, and then we were going home. We put the boat in the water at 10 because we wanted some light to come up. So we fished for 7 hours straight for tarpon. And that time we had 4 legitimate shots at tarpon, and every one of them wouldn't eat. And then we were on our way back to the boat ramp at 4:57. He spotted a school of milling tarpon. It was just our rule for the day. We were done at 5 because you could go until the cows come home.
Oh, one more cast.
Yeah, one more cast. Yeah, 3 hours later. Yep.
Like,
what are you doing? Yeah, we didn't want that. So he's found one pod of milling tarpon, and he's like, "Get your ass up there." So I jump on the bow, and I'm like, "Dude, what side do you want me to cast on?" Because he positioned the boat so perfectly. You don't realize how important a guide is in those situations until you're in them with somebody that really, really knows what they're doing. So he positioned the boat, and I said, "What side of the school?" He goes, "Left side." I said, "How far out?" And he said, 7 feet. He was like, "Between 5 and 10, 7. I'm like, okay, that's really exact considering they're probably 80 feet away from me, and I gotta now land a fly on a dinner plate 80 feet away, and I'm like, all right, let's go. So, I get back and I cast it out there, and I mean, the fly landed just so perfectly. And as I sit there, and when you fish for tarpon on fly, you stick the rod under your hand so you can double strip to keep the fly moving smoothly. So I get the rod under my arm and I start stripping, and one of those tarpon just peels right off, and he's just following the fly little by little. And he goes, "Let it sit." And I let it sit, and he goes, "Tap it, tap, tap," twice. And the tarpon just went right up to it. I strip set into the tarpon, and I was like, and the fish kept swimming towards the boat at that point. So I'm stripping
with a hook.
With a hooked tarpon, like he's coming to the boat. And by the time he was 3 feet from the boat, I'm looking at this tarpon eye to eye. He's underwater, his mouth's open, he's shaking. There's no tension on the line at this point. And I'm like, I think we're hooked, like you're like kind of like, oh, we're hooked. Right there, he goes flying through the air right next to the boat. And the one thing that you do when you're fly fishing for tarpon and you hook one is don't move your feet, because there's fly lines sitting on the ground. And I wasn't basket. I didn't have a basket. I was stripping right to my feet. Yeah, I was sitting right there. So I'm sitting there like, oh boy. So I drop the fly rod in my hand. I go to just make sure it's set one more time. I came tight, and that's when he went nuts. And Captain Barkley Daniels, he's a wonderful fly guide down here. He fly fishes for tarpon too. He taught me. He said, you make, that thing with your hand, and then you go like right here. Mm-hmm. And so I went right there, I held the rod, and the line just filtered perfectly through my circle I made, and we were hooked up. And next thing you know, August and I are literally cheering, high-fiving, and the line's just going. The tarpon's going nuts, and August got a video camera on, and I'm over there holding the rod, and I looked down and I go, we need to go. We need to go. So the line was running out very quickly. That fight took 3 hours.
Using big clouser minnows?
No, we were using tarpon bunny, black and purple tarpon bunny. Yeah. So that fight took us 3 hours to land the fish. It was a long fight, but the thing about fishing up there in Homosassa is when you hook a fish like that, they take you miles from basically where you hook them, and it's all in 2 feet of water. So you'll sit there as you're fighting this fish, and the fish is dragging the boat. These are 2-person skiffs. They're small boats, and the fish is dragging the boat, and you're just watching the tarpon's tail and it's just going like this on the surface, plop, 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 because that's all the water's this deep.
Yeah. I mean,
So the
I don't know
tarpon's
about
that tall, you know,
Yeah.
and so his tail's just flopping as he's pulling the boat. What a memorable experience to sit there and just hold that rod, have the rod ready to break the whole time, and just be like, I don't know if we're gonna get this fish or not, but I'm already tired.
Yeah.
And you know, we tried to land it a few times and we got it.
It's just hooking them and
Hooking them and watching them fly. That's a successful tarpon trip in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Hook through the air, you've won.
Well, I
But
definitely did it with you guys for a little bit this year. We
Yeah,
got 2.
you did. That's solid.
I've never done
For an
it before.
offshore guy to come in here and say he got 2, I'm not going to name any names, but I know some offshore guys that have tried on the choppier days or the days we have a wind coming out of the west or east, and they'll it doesn't work. It's tough. So it's really tough. So big props to Bob for landing those
I
2
suck
this
at
year.
tarpon fishing.
Oh, it's
not my
tough.
thing. It
It's
is not
tough.
my thing.
I hate it.
Snook, tarpon, redfish, trout. No, I'm good.
I might be all right at it, but I don't like
I'll take
it.
grunts, hogfish, and all the other stuff into the offshore thing.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool, though. I didn't know you actually caught that one.
Yeah,
I
that
thought you had a
was
different one.
my actual fish. Yeah, length and girth, 116 pounder on fly,
That'd be
12
a
weight.
lot of plastic to bring in.
It's
Or
a lot.
fiberglass.
It weighs like that fish weighs literally like 15 pounds maybe total. It's so light. You could
Yeah.
lift that up with one arm.
So the
That's my sailfish too.
Oh, that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about that one?
That one's here.
All right, so we're gonna go fishing. What's
Yeah.
one piece of advice that you want me to know before I step on your boat?
Yeah, so the thing I think that gets people a lot is just basic use of fishing gear. I think we miss that a lot. Something that people don't usually know is some charter boats do and some don't. I use pretty nice gear. I don't use, the Walmart special or whatever. And
use Walmart stuff.
no, I know. I'm just saying, like, I have St. Croix rods. I use Shimano Stratic reels. The reels are, here it is right here, the reel that I use, the Shimano Stratic 4000, $249 retail. The rod that I use retails for $280. You're talking about $600 in the hands of your clients. So if they understood not to reel against the drag, when the fish is pulling line, they're just crank, crank, crank. And I know people get excited, but it's like little things like that really can damage our equipment long term.
Oh, yeah.
They reel all the way to the weight, and it's like I had a rod break 2 weeks ago with somebody doing that. And I tell people, I give people a demonstration. This is what we're going to do. And I think people get excited, and I think it's great. But,
I agree.
Saltwater fishing doesn't mean we're always going to land a fish this big. What it means is we're going to catch a lot of fish. You might go bass fishing, and you're going to catch 1 or 2 bass, and you've had a great day. For us, 30, 40, 50 fish might be a great day. And maybe we get something good, maybe we don't. But, just having like real expectations. We're here to have a good time. Fishing's bonus. We always catch them. 7 years, never been skunked, knock on wood. Hope I don't this year too. But, just have fun, pay attention to what we tell you. We're here to teach,
Yeah.
I think that's
and,
the thing.
And I think, what a lot of people need to understand too is like, so I know I say it a lot, we're not in the business of taking your money.
Yeah, no.
If we could take you fishing for free, we probably would.
Yeah.
But, we got to make a living too. However, that being said, I could care less about the money. I just want you guys to have a good time.
Mhm.
If it's going to be rough or it's anything like that, I'd rather cancel and save you the money and you guys go do something else for the day instead of go out there and get your asses kicked or get seasick.
And I don't want to knock anybody, but there definitely are charters out there that do take your money,
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, yeah, whatever, sorry. Now, I'm the type of person, if I feel like conditions are going to be bad or the fishing's been really, really tough,
Okay.
I'm going to tell you the night before. You're going to get a message from me that says, hey, fishing's been really bad. I'm just trying to reset the expectation. Like, we might have a hard time catching enough for you for dinner, or we might have a hard time getting more than 4 or 5 fish today.
And I would
And
try-
and I say it's your choice.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm willing to
It's
go.
always a choice.
Yep.
I'll go in anything.
Yep.
And I'll say that right away. I don't have a problem going. I know the boat can handle it. I know I can handle it. It's all about whether or not the customers are going to be okay,
Yep.
especially if there's kids involved.
Yeah.
I get a lot of groups that come down here for red snapper season, and they want red snappers, and I'm sure you get the guys that come down for snook, or they want to catch
Yeah.
a redfish, but, with snappers and groupers, that's like a really sought-after fish that a lot of people want around here. If I think the crew can handle it and it's going to be a little rough, I'm going to tell you right up front, listen, we can either try this a different day, especially if you're local.
Mhm.
My local guys, I always try to be like, listen, let's wait it out a little bit, let the storm go by or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we'll try. But, at the end of the day, last thing I want to do is take you guys out there and beat you up. I know you're the same way.
I don't like beating people up. I hate it.
Let alone our gear.
Yeah, let alone our gear, our boat. I mean, the boat is what makes us money, and if
Yeah.
we're going to beat the boat up, it's not okay. So, yeah, really understanding that most of the great guides want to watch you succeed, and we don't want to watch you fail. So we're not going to put you in a situation to do that. Having quality referrals, looking at reviews, things like that, that's usually the best way to go. Because there are people that do this as a side gig. They just are weekend warrior fishermen, and nothing wrong with that. They could be great fishermen, have a great time too, but then there's people that do this as a full-time living, and we don't want to give bad experiences out.
I think another big thing too that a lot of people don't realize is that lately, I don't know if you've been reading the news or not, but the Coast Guard's been cracking down on illegal charters.
Yeah, good.
And the bareboat charters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you're going to go on to a charter and you booked it on Fishing Booker or Captain Experiences or you found it on Google, ask the captain to see his captain's license.
I 7 years average, say 250 charters a year, so you're talking about 1,500 plus charters I've done. I've never once been asked to see my captain's license by a client. They just assume everything's on the up and up. And I mean, if you book through one of the websites like Fishing Booker, it's kind of built in.
Yeah,
we have to have it.
You have to upload it.
But if you just call Joe Blow, you don't know. So, I encourage people to check. I say, by all means, I'd love to hold it up for you. Here it is.
Because I got that little fancy sticker that says I have reef and pelagics. You know, it doesn't mean that it's legal.
Doesn't mean it's legal.
Like, hey, let me see the paperwork. The last thing you want is you go out there with, you know, Joe Smith down the block that runs it off for a boat.
Well, we've heard plenty of the guys. They bring guns on the boat and start shooting fish and stuff like that. It gets sketchy.
I heard about that.
Yeah, there was a crazy one down in Sarasota.
Yeah. And
so
there was another one that was shooting sharks or something like that.
Shooting sharks in the Keys. Yep. I mean, I can sympathize a little bit. Nah, I won't do that. But yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, so if we're going to be fishing and the bite's super slow, not that it always happens like that, what's your go-to change of bait? So if we got whitebait, we got pinfish, we got grass grunts, we got everything you could think of on the boat, what would be your go-to if we have a slow bite, but you know the fish are there and you can see them?
So the first thing that I'm going to do, if there's a fish that we really want to catch and the bite's been tough on it, I'm going to change and downsize my leader.
Okay.
That's the first thing that I do. So standardly, I run Seaguar Inshore label 25 pound. That's like my go-to leader, right? Game on for most everything we do. We were down in Boca Grande this year fishing for tarpon, and the tarpon bite, it stops throughout the day from time to time. And so I was checking the beach in Little Gasparilla Pass, and I found a school of, it's probably 250 plus permit. And they were all like, 4 or 5 pounders, like really great permit. And we started flipping crabs up to them. We had some small crabs on the boat, and they wouldn't eat. And I'm like, whoa, time out. I completely stopped everything that I was doing. I had one rod that was rigged up with gold label Seaguar 25. And just to explain the difference, like the diameter of 25 pound inshore label, I don't know the exact number, but the gold label 25 is about half the diameter of that even.
Gotcha.
So it might have the strength of 25, so they say. I don't buy it. I think it's less. It's probably closer to, I think it equals out to be about a 16 pound leader equivalent as far as diameter goes. And so it's really hard for the fish to see. As soon as I switched that leader, we caught back to back to back to back. And one of the other guides was out there, and he was throwing a different leader. I said, what leader are you running? He's like, 25. I'm like, which one? He goes, Inshore, Seaguar, like, duh, like we all do,
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, dude. I said, stop, time out. I threw him a whole entire spool of gold label 25. As soon as he put that on, bite after bite after bite. And I'm like, man. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to downsize my leader if I can. Situations you can't, or downsize the hook. But the one thing that I like to do is change up how I hook whitebaits. So standardly on a whitebait,
are you introducing our friends?
I think I'm going to introduce a friend. Standardly on a whitebait, I like to just hook him through the nose right here. I won't actually do it, but I'll go straight across his face to his nose right there. But when we start getting into those tough bite situations on a whitebait, I'll actually put the hook through here, kind of in his throat, if you will. It'll slide right through and pop through. And what this does is it makes him swim.
I'd catch him, but I didn't feel like
Yeah. It makes him swim up, and he'll stay on the surface just wiggling. And so sometimes he'll stay on his side and he'll flash differently. But that, to me, is really a trick that you can use when the bite's tough or you're beach fishing for snook. I would almost always hook them right through that throat, and it'll just pop right through. And they fly pretty good that way. They stay on decently. but it's really just a different look. Give them a different look. That's that's what I say. So, yeah.
So when you're on the beach fishing for snook, obviously we like white baits, right? So
I like white baits a lot.
You had to choose between a pinfish and a grass grunt.
On the beach?
Yeah.
It's white bait, 100%.
Yeah.
So when I first started trying to figure out like beach fishing for snook, I'd actually chunk the beach. I'd use dead ladyfish in a chunk. I use pinfish in a chunk, and they all worked.
Yeah.
I have pictures of snook, in the high 30s from chunking the beach.
I worked up there at Clearwater Beach Marina.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the marina, obviously, but we take old Spanish mackerel heads, drop them down in our slips, catch 40s.
Oh yeah, and I mean a snook's gonna eat when they're hungry and the food's there. It's gonna eat.
Yeah.
And then I think that just like for beach fishing, I really like a white bait that's about that size.
So
if you get them too much smaller or too much bigger, like the big ones, I really like the medium size, because when you cast that bait out and it lands on the water, sometimes you got to skip out of it and it won't just plop and hit hard. And the little ones, they fall off. You can't cast them far enough. The hook looks too big, even if you're using like a 1/0 like I like to use. But the throat hooked ones on a pin or white bait about that size, they just sometimes will skip and land softly, and it'll kind of look like either a bird dropped it from picking it up, or it will look more natural that way.
Look.
And then the snook goes, I'm gonna eat that. So,
pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's probably my good
that.
takeaway on that.
How have things changed over the water, like on the past couple of years? Like, what have you noticed? Anything different in like fishing patterns, or pressure, or the weather?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably do an hour-long conversation on this, but I won't. I'll try to keep it simple. We've seen a lot of pressure increase on fish, which is expected. The increased number of guides that we have in the area. Like when I started, I think there were 7 or 8 guides out here in Clearwater Inshore, and
really?
Yeah, that was it.
There's like 40 of you.
Now there's 38 to be exact. And as I mentioned last episode, some of the guides are dropping off. They move on to real jobs or whatever. It's difficult to do this business long term, but if you do it and do it well, you can do it long term. But the pressure is definitely increased. The number of guides in the water increases all the time. I would say the main thing is just watching populations change of fish, redfish and snook primarily, and then trout coming back the way they have is wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of trout around here. I know, like, from you and from Tyler and Ethan, and I've been all you guys again. Trout bite was great.
Trout bite, yeah.
What trout bite? I'm like, there's a trout bite around here? So
yeah.
I know, nothing at my father-in-law, but he'll go out and I'm like, did you catch trout? No.
Why not?
What'd you do?
Yeah, I mean, the trout bite's been phenomenal.
Sorry, Dad.
No, it's fine. I'm sure he'll
Sorry,
live.
Ken.
I'm sure Ken will be all right. The redfish bite, how it used to be 6-7 years ago from now, is completely different. I watched it go down, and I've watched it start to come back up. I don't think we're back to where we should be yet. This October will be a great time to tell. That's when we get a good run of redfish come in. So I'm excited to see how this October works. And then snook fishing, it's okay. I wouldn't call it fantastic. I think that's gotten progressively a little bit better over the years. And then some of the really big fish, I'm not seeing as many of them. But for whatever reason, the Clearwater area holds bigger snook than small snook. We don't catch a lot of the dings. We don't get like these.
When I first moved here 5 years
We
ago,
get these.
my first snook I ever caught on this side was 38 inches.
That's a big one. That's a massive snook.
When I first moved down here, my first snook I've ever caught was 44, and then I got a 46.
Wow.
The next cast. That was over on the East Coast. So
Yeah.
That's my biggest snook is 46.
That's massive.
On a North Bar bottle darter, and my friend Matt Cook will tell you all about it. And he just opened his own charter business over in
cool.
Orlando for largemouth.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's getting that up and running called Off the Hook.
That's
It'll be
awesome.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
we're just
haven't
watching.
noticed that either. Like the snook here is.
The snook are all big. You don't really
big,
get.
It's not super consistent.
It's not consistent at all. You'll go out back-to-back days, same time, same tidal pattern, same weather pattern, and the fishing will be completely different. So if you don't have the patience to hunt them down, you're not going to find them.
Yeah.
So I've seen that, and then obviously the last few years we've had some pretty bad hurricanes, and that's really messed with the fishing. But I think this year we're going to have a quiet year with hurricanes. I get that feeling. I should have not just said that. Once again, knocking on more wood. Probably just
Damn it, Phil.
ruined us completely.
You're fired.
Yeah, I might have just fired myself.
Customer on my boat throughout the day. I don't know if you do. They hired me, but I fired them.
It's fair enough. I think we're going to have a quieter hurricane season, which will be good for us. And then flounder. Flounder's a big one, too. It's actually coming back. 2008, we had a red tide that killed
I've
off.
Caught this many.
I've caught that many in a day.
I've caught this many since I moved here. Before I moved here, it'd be like 40, 50 fish days.
Yeah. When I was growing up as a kid, that's all my grandfather and I caught off the Dunedin Causeway was flounder after flounder after flounder. And then now, when I first started guiding, I don't think we landed a flounder for like 2 years. And now this year, yeah, there you go.
That's my flounder
He got a flounder rig on his leg on a tattoo.
Chicken rig.
Chicken rig, baby.
With a bucktail on the bottom.
And we're starting to actually see a lot of flounder. Me and one of the other guides, Marlon, we had a flounder contest. We called it a fluke-off for an entire year. And we had a log book, and we logged every flounder catch. So to give you an idea of two guides that run about the same number of trips, between 220 and 250, give or take trips a year, he landed, I think it was like 8 or 9 flounder, and I landed 22. And I had a banner year, because I caught like 3 the year before. I was like, yeah, we can do this game. I'm not going to catch any. You're going to win. And it was the exact opposite. So that started building. And then this last year, I'm well over that number. I think I did 22 in a week at one point. Like, I was like, wow, this is really starting to get good again. So we're seeing these changes, and it's exciting.
Cool. What's the biggest flounder you caught around here?
Yeah, so...
Are we talking like 16, 17 inches?
Maybe closer to 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple that are up there and closer to 20. Like,
we got one,
not your real doormats, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we got one last year on a grouper charter in like March.
Okay.
And we were like 100 foot of water or whatever. And it was 25 and a half inches.
Oh, it's massive.
And all the guys were from New York.
Like,
this guy is 86 years old, and his name was Mike. Mike Schroeder goes, "It's a fucking fluke." Because I'm here for a grouper and I caught a damn flat one. Like,
oh no.
I was like, "Are you taking that home?"
That's a great fish to catch.
I said, "Do you want it?" He goes, "I don't want it. I got it in my freezer." I said,
"No, I'm taking that one."
That'd be my dinner. That's my favorite fish.
Yeah.
But he looked at me dumbfounded, and he could barely lift the rod. He's, all his fish, he took the fish and just on the rail, just let the rod still on the rail. He's setting out a bucket in the back, doing this with a 4-aught.
Just get a bend butt and put it in a freaking rod holder and just crank on it.
Well, that's what's nice about my new boat is that, they're all angled, most of them.
Yeah.
So they stick off the boat.
Instead of like backwards.
Turn it, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of like putting the rod holder and go, it's on the boat.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
That's pretty cool. All right, so I know you don't do a whole lot of this on your day off, because I definitely don't. But on your day off, what are you going to go fish for? I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the answer. And what's your favorite thing to do on the water?
So, if I'm going to go fish on my day off, it's usually sometimes red snapper. I like red snapper season a lot. But
wait for the mangoes.
Yeah, I like mangoes a lot too, but I won't do that on my day off.
Okay.
I'll save that for like, hey, we're going to go offshore and mess around kind of days, because I do like to get offshore when I can. But if I'm going fishing on my day off, what am I fishing for? I would probably do snook on the beach, to be honest. Like, if it's out there, if I can go find some snook, that's what I want to do. I've done some redfish on my day off, and that just doesn't get me going, because it's just a lot of times dead bait. I like that sight cast. Anything I can sight cast, let's say that.
Okay.
So even if I could sight cast trout all day, I'd probably be a happy guy. Really.
You ever troll for trout?
Yeah, I've heard about this.
I got a buddy of mine, he runs charters up out of Spring Hill, and in the wintertime when it's slow, that's literally all he does. Puts on 2 little Miradines on 20-pound fluorocarbon, puts the boat in gear.
Click,
Says, all right,
click.
guys, throw it 20 feet and just do this. Rod tip down, and he'll catch trout like this.
That's cool.
All day.
That's
And
pretty
I'm like,
cool.
dude, I don't know how the hell you do it. He's actually, you know who Two-Turn Tony is?
Yeah.
His captain.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, I mean, anything that I can sight cast, I don't care to do dead bait, chunk bait, and anything like that. Even if it's a tarpon I can sight cast one, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
So I think anything like that, or I go up and go fishing with my buddy August or Frankie up in Crystal River, and we'll sight cast and fly fish for reds. That would be my ideal day off right there. Favorite thing to do on the water, I mean, scalloping, lobstering in the Florida Keys.
I've never done lobstering.
Oh, okay.
I've been to
Done
the
deal.
Keys
We're going.
one time, and I didn't even get to fish or nothing. I drove down there in the daytime to drop off a guy's boat. I was delivering his boat for him with my truck.
Yeah.
Got there in the dark, left in the dark. Literally went there, dropped the boat at the marina, turned around and drove 8.5 hours back home.
And night fishing, so you bring that up. We've talked about the Keys and lobstering, but night fishing down there is amazing, dude. I mean, you'll land 10, 15 tarpon a night, no problem.
I know a couple of kids just went down there and they're like, all right, we got our lobster limit.
Yep.
And we're taking a couple, we're going Kubera fishing. I'm like,
Yep.
you're doing what?
Yeah, you
They
drop
got
a
2 that
lobster
were
down
like
for
35
Kubies.
pounds,
Yep.
dude. And on electric reels, and I'm like, I can see the land.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you can see the land. He goes, we're only in 85 feet.
Yeah.
Like, what? He goes,
Yeah.
yeah, but the sharks are horrible.
They're
They
terrible.
lost 6.
Yeah.
The sharks, and then they got 2 up, and 2 of them were like, yeah,
That's
they're big.
awesome.
It's
Yeah,
pretty cool to me.
if
Like,
I
oh,
had
it's
a
big
chance to go, I mean, the night fishing down the Keys is great. Night fishing up here is great. I think if I was going to go fish on my day off, other than going fly fishing or beach fishing for snook, it would be night fishing for dock lights. I mean, that's just,
See, I like that.
it's awesome.
That's fun for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, yeah.
Want to go tonight?
What's that?
Want to go tonight?
No, I'm not going to go tonight. No, I got other plans.
So-
I really don't. That's lying.
You're going to be on the couch in an hour sleeping.
Maybe.
More than likely.
I'm like a 9 o'clock bedtime kind of person.
Dude, I wish.
I
I've
love
been
my
to bed
9 o'clock
before 10 o'clock
bedtimes.
in the past like 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like.
Horrible. Yeah. So if I'm gonna come down to Florida and I wanna go fishing, right? If I'm gonna look up, say inshore fishing,
Yeah.
where would be the best place to find you?
So you can find me on my website. It's suncoastexpeditions.com. You can look up Captain Phil. I'm sure you'll find me. Bel Air Bait and Tackle. You can call up here if you want. Do whatever you want. That's how you find me, Captain Phil, and you'll find me. Suncoast Expeditions. Giddy up. It's like Kramer. It's Kramer.
What?
Giddy up. That's what Kramer used to say on Seinfeld.
Yeah,
why
I
I
don't watch
say
Seinfeld.
I say that because of that, and
You're
Rob
born in
always
the
says it.
80s?
God, you're so young.
Were you
Done
born?
with you.
When were you born?
1983.
Uh-huh. 95.
95! Golly!
Yeah, I was born in 95.
95, so I was 12. Man, I
Middle
caught more.
school.
I'll caught plenty of bass by that time. All right, guys. So that's it for the interview. Let's jump into gag grouper so that he can talk for a little bit. We're gonna have Bob, going out gag grouper fishing here.
Yeah.
You got your rigs. I got you some gear here. Show us what you rig and how you rig for gag grouper.
All right, so unfortunately we don't have any 9-aughts left here. I guess somebody bought the last one.
So we threw on some. We have some like
This is an
8-aught.
8-aught Trokar.
He likes 9-aughts, is what
I
he's
do
saying.
like the
Bigger.
9-aughts. And I personally like the owners. The owners work really well, and anything with a wide gap works really good. Especially when you're hooking up a live bait. A lot of the guys like to use live bait for them down here. Me personally, I start with the dead bait.
Okay.
Okay. When we get to a spot, and if I know there's gags there, or if it's a ledge or a break or somewhere where I know they're holding like the specific type of bottom we like to look for, nobody's dropping a grouper rod right away.
Yeah.
Most of the time, Usually I try to tell people, listen, we're gonna go gag grouper fishing, but it's a lot of grunt fishing in between.
Yep.
Because you got to create a commotion down there. So what happens a lot of the time is when we're going gag grouper fishing, I'll have, say, 6 guys, right? So we have a full boat. I'm going to have 4 guys grunt fishing and 2 guys grouper fishing to start. I'll let them drop down big baits and see what happens. Spread them threadies, hook them in the tail.
I was going to ask you, what do you like to rig the most? It's
Rip the
threadies.
tail off, hook them in the tail, send them down, 3 or 4 cranks up off the bottom. I don't like them sitting on the bottom. Some captains do, and I'm with it. It works. But me personally, if they're up off the bottom a little bit, when you get that thump,
You have a
with a lot
chance.
of customers, and for lack of better words, it's a feel,
Yeah.
right? If you're just a customer coming down here on vacation, you honestly aren't going to have the best feel as to like what me and him would have. So when you hit the bottom, you're on 1, 2, 3, and you're waiting. Well, when that fish actually hits it, you're going to feel it go thump. Or if it's on the bottom and you're trying to feel it, a lot of people don't know what to feel for, and they'll feel the thump like, oh, maybe it's just a sinker, when really it was a grouper who's now felt the hook, who's now back at his rock.
Yeah.
So I realized that there's a lot of break-offs. I like fishing 80 or 100-pound leader, and a lot of my gag grouper fishing is not where you would think it would be. I like fishing 50 foot or less. It's a lot of fun.
50 foot or less, he
Yeah, and I
says.
know a lot of charter captains, they'll run out to the 200 foot or go out to the Florida Middle Grounds, which is a big place for everybody. Or the Elbow, a lot of guys like that, or even, past 200 foot, which is all well and dandy, but I mean, if I can go catch a 15-pound gag, 33 inches in 15 feet of water,
Why
why
not?
do I want to run out to 200 foot, catch a 40-pound gag, and get half the fish because of a shark?
Yeah, it's true. He's got a good
The shark
point.
problem is horrible. That I got a couple trips coming up. The guys want to catch their red snappers. I'm like, listen, we can do the red snappers. We might get a gag or 2, or we're gonna go do gag grouper fishing. And if we get it done, or get a couple and you're content, leave enough time to go get red groupers and maybe get a red snapper or 2 while we're at it.
Yeah.
It's one of the, you gotta pick the lesser of 2 evils.
Yep.
Do you want your red snapper and red grouper and maybe a gag or 2, or do you want to get as many gags as you can to a point and then go try to get some red groupers and maybe a red snapper or two.
Yeah, I like that. It makes
So,
sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing, and I know a lot of the guys up there like to do their own thing, and a lot of guys like to troll plugs for them. It's a big thing, especially Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Those guys,
Shipping channel, trolling big
channel,
Rapalas.
all the big bridges down there. A lot of the guys like to do that. Number 3 planer,
Yep.
20, 30-foot leader.
Yep.
It works. I mean, I've done it. We do it out here.
It's functional. Yep.
We'll be out there trying to catch Spanish mackerel, and we'll be like, hey, put a plug out, see what happens. Next
Bud.
thing you know, there's a 30-inch gag coming up next to your 12-inch Spanish mackerel.
Awesome.
So.
Show us your rig here, Bob. Looks like you got a little line and some.
Yeah, so what I like to do a lot of the times, I like to fish 80 or 100. We only have 60 here though, so I always like to take my leader and I'll extend it as far as I can out of one side, and I always go to the far side of my chest.
Yeah, it's a great spot right there.
Yeah, so I always, it's kind of bullseye. So I go to here, cut it. What I like to do then though is I like to take my hook. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it here. I always hold my hook so that it's facing my leader. I go in the front of the hook, and I go in about an inch or two, almost down to the bend of the hook itself. And I'm going to pinch it along there, and it's just going to sit kind of flat along the hook here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap it 8 or 9 times around both pieces, but I want to make sure I don't overlap. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I'm going to pinch the back side of this. I'm going to grab my tag end, and how we came in the front on the beginning, now we're going to come out the back. So we're going to make sure we come out the back of the hook there, and then we're going to pull it nice and tight. And that's how we do, it's actually like a commercial snell. I know a lot of the guys at commercial fish do it this way because you can tie it a lot faster than, a uni snell or your traditional style snell where you're holding 2 pieces and wrapping it around. But
so when you're doing that,
you're not going to pull this out.
What's the benefit of using a snell here?
So I'm not saying it's true, it's one of those things. So if I'm a fish and I pick up this and somebody pulls tight, see how the hook actually caught my hand?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I took this hook, I'll undo this. Nice and easy to undo.
Real easy to undo.
Or a lot of the guys will like to do, just say your regular clinch knot. So
yep.
3 times around through the bottom kind of deal. The problem is,
well, first off, the knot doesn't hold.
This leader sucks.
It did suck. That just broke. Don't use. I'm not naming names.
No, I'm not naming names. But
it was probably just a bad knot.
Yeah, we'll just do a fisherman's knot. Do the double clinch here.
There you go.
That one won't come out. As long as I don't stab myself here.
Yeah, that could happen.
So
that's a troll car that could hurt.
Yeah.
Those are
The
sharp.
biggest problem I run into this though, you see a lot of guys do this, and I get the tag ends. I know
That's not a big deal
couple
right now.
captains are going to be yelling at me for tag ends. So
No, it's okay. This is just for. There you go.
now it's pretty.
Now it's pretty. Yeah.
The problem is with this. Okay, if I drop this down, if my line's sitting here, look how my hook's now sitting.
Yeah. It's all messed up.
Or if it's even over here. And the problem is now, if you're fishing hooks that don't have closed eyes, which these do, if you fish one that doesn't have a closed eye, there's a good chance it's going to chafe off and break.
And that's what we're talking about, quality hooks, quality line. The other thing, a lot of times with a snell, is when it's pulled that way and you go to set the hook, it actually helps the circle hook rotate into the fish. Because here we're just pulling straight with it where it could slide out real easy. So if a fish just bites this like this and you yank on it, I mean, all of a sudden that hook's sliding out real easily. But if he ties his snell on there and that fish bites it, it's actually rotating the circle hook. You can see it, it's already getting in there and right in my finger, just like that. So,
yeah,
and quality hooks, like he's saying.
I always try to show people too, I'm like, you think about it like this, right? So yeah, I'm going to catch my hand.
Yeah.
No problem. But, if this is sitting here and I go to pull, yeah, it's going to catch, but
it's a terrible hook.
It barely caught my hand that time.
And it could easily slide out when you're fighting that fish. And if you're catching a 30-pound gag grouper and that thing's digging on you, you're not going to be able to get
him.
him.
I mean, that's just my preference.
Yeah.
And what I like to do too, I know a lot of the guys like to use what we call a knocker rig.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use knocker rigs for the groupers. I use a Carolina rig, or like I used to call it a striped bass rig, but it's just an egg weight. So we're going to have our hook, all snelled up. It'll be on here. It's going to go up to a swivel. Going to be tied here. And I usually use a top shot. I try to fish with braid. On our charters, we use all monofilament though.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason we do that is because of the stretch and actually being able to crank down on the fish and crank down on the drag and having the added abrasion resistance compared to braid.
Yep.
But what we'll do is take our sinker. I usually put a bead before the sinker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally put one after it because you don't technically need to.
You don't need to.
I put one before it so that it doesn't keep banging into the knot on the swivel here.
And then you end up breaking off.
Stuck and then it'll break it off.
Yep.
So you put it here and then your sinker can sit here. So what's happening is, well, this is on the bottom. It'll slide out of the swivel a little bit, but now your hook and your bait can do whatever he wants, and he's got about 3 feet to play with.
Yep.
And using a slide sinker, when it's on the bottom there, it'll actually, you can feel the bite a little better compared to where if you were fishing, you know, like
A couple cranks
chicken
off the
rig.
bottom or something
like
like
an
that.
actual chicken rig or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's just my piece of advice for that. The other thing I like to do for gags, depending on how deep I am, because some places we do fish is very shallow, is 2 big split shots on 100 pound. You do like about yay far from the bait.
Yep.
And you do 2 split shots and drift them down on a spinning reel.
Yep.
But 90% of our fishing is unconventional because you've just
That's
got
a
better
little
leverage.
bit more delicate of a presentation, you know.
That'd be like you and me going fishing because we know exactly what we're doing.
Let me get beat up.
We're still going to lose.
I like to lose. I'm all right with
I
losing.
don't like losing.
I'm all right with losing
I
a little
get so
bit.
upset when we lose them. Because what happens too is, and a lot of people don't realize this, is groupers, they do what they call drumming. So I know you've caught red groupers, little ones, and all you hear is you're hearing doop, 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 doop. Well, with gags, when you get them going, they get into like an aggressive state. Well, when you break one off, they shoot and they start drumming, and it will kill a bite. I've watched, working as a deckhand, I watched one captain, we hooked 3 guys hooked up, 2 guys broke off, we didn't get another bite on that spot.
Wow, that's crazy.
And we know they were there because 2 other guys missed the fish.
And I've seen it happen with red grouper too. You catch a nice red grouper, he's pulling him up, breaks off, goes back down, and he's down there going boom,
If
boom,
you get
boom.
them up off the bottom,
Yeah,
usually you're okay.
yeah.
You know, but when they break you off or take you in the rocks and you break them off right down there on the bottom, you're done.
I always say that fight with groupers are won in the first 5 feet of the bottom. If you can get that fish 5
First
to 7
10 cranks.
Yeah, first like 8 cranks or so. Get that
Yeah.
fish off the bottom. You're probably going to win the fight as long as there's not a shark. But
I tell everybody, I'm like, you know, that first initial bite when you're grouper fishing, you crank like you're running from the cops.
yeah, yeah. In essentiality,
You're
you
running
are.
for your life for the first 10 cranks.
So your go-to bait for gag grouper, you were saying you like
I like frozen threadies.
frozen threadies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like frozen threadies to start. You know, if the bite gets kind of slow or it gets tough, or we've been on that spot for a while and we only got 1 or 2 bites, I'm gonna drop a pinfish down or a grass grunt or whatever I got.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really like using threadies. I don't really like using whitebait. If they're live, they don't really work out as well.
I don't
as
find
most
you
people.
catching that many gags with them. I catch a lot more mangoes with them than I do anything else in
the
red
whitebaits
snappers.
Catch mangoes a lot better than
Yeah.
they do. You know, I personally like using pinfish, but I don't like a pinfish. I
Yeah.
like a pinfish.
Pinfish.
You know, like the
We
one-
always say like
Like,
an
I'm going
ideal
back into
pinfish
our
would be
boys
like
here.
the size of your hand, you know?
This is
That's a great size
probably
pinfish
an
right
ideal
there.
size pinfish that I would like to use. He's about the size of my palm.
Yep.
You know, and most of the time when I'm hooking my pinfish, I don't normally hook them here through the mouth, unless I'm actually fishing in the deeper water. Because what's happening is when you drop them down and you've got them hooked here, they go down nice and fluent and they can actually swim. Whereas if you hook them up here in the back side, like right here in the back, you hook them back here and then they go down. They do this the whole way. They're spinning like a
He
teeper puff.
spins, and then their
So,
scales get
but
puffed out,
my
and they look terrible.
personal favorite spot to hook them, you see the point right here, right behind the hole.
His
You're gonna
butthole.
Yeah, and hook him right back here, right about there. So when he's down there, he can actually swim around and do what he wants to do.
And he'll swim up too.
Yep,
The same
and-
thing
and
with
he'll
those
swim
white
up,
baits.
And that hook will sit here just like this. And
Yeah.
what gag groupers do, and what almost every fish does, they eat. He missed the bucket. They eat head first.
He's in the bucket now. They eat head first, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're
So-
looking to swallow that fish so that the fish gets engulfed, and then next thing you know, that hook's right there. It's right at the backside of the fish to get right in the corner of the
Yeah,
mouth.
so when they actually do suck it down, you know, and you start to go crank on them, you get a pretty good hook set on.
You're ready to roll, yeah. I like that a lot. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. So
to say-
fishing a Carolina rig with a pinfish is one of those things, or even a sardine or threadfin. You're in deeper water using a little bit heavier weight. If you're to drop that thing straight down, what happens?
It'll spin like a helicopter.
Yeah, so they get spun up on
Unless-
themselves a lot.
Unless, you know, I'd say about 99% of the time, what I do with my threadies when they're frozen like that, make sure they're flat. You know, bring them out or whatever. I take my hand and I'll pinch, like right where the. I'll do it this way.
Yeah, go ahead, get another one.
Oh, that's a mini guy.
It's fun watching them trying to catch fish on camera. You got him.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I lost my my bait net one time,
Yeah.
and we were kingfishing. It went off the back. And the guy's like, "How are you gonna get him out of there?" I was like, "Oh, I got a plan.
Drain it.
Super slow."
Yeah, super
They're like,
slow.
"How did you do that?"
Super
Like,
slow.
Move slow.
There's
What I like to
days
do
that
with
I'll go
my-
out and I'll never even use my net. I'll just grab them out of my live well the whole day. They're like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I don't know, I just
you know,
don't use
Yeah,
it.
they're like, "What?"
Yeah, they don't need
So
it.
I thought about it, you know, if you put sunscreen on, don't go in the live well.
Exactly, I always say that too.
What I like to do with my threadies, if they're frozen, don't worry, he's still kicking, still breathing.
Yeah, he's good. There's a
Something.
bubbler and
So,
everything. The fish are
You're gonna
alive.
grab their tail and you're gonna twist it and rip it off, and then you're actually gonna go right down the middle of the fish where their backbone is,
Mm-hmm.
as far down as the hook will let you go, if you're going to put the hook in as far down as let you go, and you're going to pull it completely through them.
There
and
you
they
go.
actually don't spin up too bad.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, it stops them from spinning.
I always try to tell people, like, if you're going to let your Carolina rig, especially on a Carolina rig, go, you almost want to make a V with it. So I try to say, drop it over here, release, and then move your rod this way so that the bait and the hook are a little bit, like, they're away from you. Here's the hook, here's your bait over here, here's your line coming up. So you're trying to make a V with it. That way, by the time it gets down, it doesn't have time to go like this and then get spun up. So you kind of want to give yourself a little bit of a gap there, and that usually fixes that problem too.
And to that point, yeah, exactly. Especially with live bait. If you're going to be dropping down a live bait and you have them tail hooked or something like that.
Yeah.
If you know how deep you are, drop them down about halfway.
Stop.
Hold them.
Yep.
Wait for that sinker to go.
Thump, thump, you'll feel it.
And then you can lift up slow and make sure it feels heavier than your sinker, and then you can drop it down.
And then do it again. Yep. And it'll go straight down just fine.
I do that a lot, especially like with customers. Like, hey, stop at about what you think is halfway.
Mm-hmm.
And lock it up. Do one crank, wait for it to get a little heavy, then drop it down the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And that helps them get a better feel for it.
Yep, for
so
sure.
They kind of know what they're feeling.
What the weight feels, what everything kind of feels
so
like.
So when you know your bait's gone, and I can look at some people's rods. I'm like, oh yeah, your bait's gone. And they're like, you sure? I'm like, hold on, lift. I'm like, yeah, your bait's gone. They're like, how do you know? I'm like, the rod didn't bend a certain way.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's not there.
I can tell when somebody has bait, not even with a white bait, dropping it down.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, your bait's gone. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's
or when
okay,
they go to
man.
reel up, and you're like looking at the rod tip going,
nothing.
Nope, nothing there.
Already have a bait in my hand. Bring me that rod.
Happened to me the other day. He's like, how'd you know? I'm like, magician.
Let me tell you what I do all day. I stare at rod tips all day.
You just stare at rods.
Yeah, same thing. So yeah, gag grouper season coming up.
Yeah.
Pinfish, threadfin, sardines work too. Preferred baits.
The almighty grunt chunk.
Yes, a chunk of grunts. Yeah. White grunts. Bob's talking about. He cuts them up.
I really like using sand perch too.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a couple guys that I do
squirrel fish.
Squirrel fish. Sand perch.
Squirrel fish.
They're the little orange guys that everybody looks like, oh, those are ugly, and they have all the gill plates that'll get you.
Yeah, they get you.
Yeah. I like taking them and either using them live, depending on how big they are.
They work out really
butterfly.
well. Those are delicious too.
Yeah, they make good ceviche.
Their white meat is amazing.
It makes good ceviche.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
I like to butterfly them too, though.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't know what a butterfly is, essentially what you're doing is you'll take your bait and you lay them flat. I'm a lefty, so I do everything backwards. You're gonna poke in the top, like if instead of going to fillet him, you're gonna poke in the top of his head and go straight down his backbone through his belly and go right down the back, flip him over, do the same thing, poke in the top of the head all the way through and slide down. You're essentially reverse filleting it.
Yeah, taking out the spine and the tail.
There, so they flop around like a butterfly,
Yep.
and you're ripping the backbone out. And it works really well.
It works really well on anything. I've actually used that with a ladyfish to catch like a 40-pound cuda one time.
Oh, cudas are dumb.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
Cudas are fun though.
they're fun, but the butterfly works really well.
We do for the cudas around here, we do a lot of Spanish mackerels.
Spanish mackerel. Yeah.
Take our legal Spanish mackerels we caught earlier in the day and we'll lay them out and do 1, 2, 3 slice, 1, 2, 3 slice, put 5 hooks in them.
Oh yeah.
Just float them on
Float
the
them
surface.
out.
They're doing this.
Yeah, they look like beautiful cuda meat, and they eat it.
Or cuda tubes.
Cuda tubes, yes. Cuda tubes are great
We used to have a
too.
captain here, he retired 2 years ago now. Captain Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Called him Dos Man because he ran Dos Amigos.
Okay, yeah.
Old Crusader. Cool boat. He would make us custom cuda tubes.
That's
along
cool.
with pick gaffs.
Yeah.
So pick gaffs, the 2-foot golf clubs.
There was one over there. It's gone now.
Well,
we have one.
I need to get a new one from Dos.
There's a short one right there.
Yeah, a little longer than that.
Yeah.
It's like 2-3 foot.
Yeah.
Like a putter.
Okay.
Best gaff I've ever had.
Oh yeah.
Until my deckhands lose them, and then I'm like,
Need a rope on the end.
They float.
Yeah.
But when it's rough out, and that's when they lose them when it's rough, because we used to drag our anchors. There it goes.
There it goes.
Just watch it float away.
Yep. So coinciding in the September 1st opening of Gag Grouper is snook season. Now, I don't really care to kill snook, and like I said, I think last week, you guys are more than welcome to. It doesn't bother me that much. But snook season's opening up, and that runs from September 1st all the way through November 30th. So we have like a 3-month snook season this year, which is pretty cool. And the Gag Grouper season, it's only 14 days, so we got 2 weeks of that. They were kind enough to open up red snapper as well during that time period, so plenty of fish and red grouper are still open. There's plenty of fish to fish for in the beginning part of September, which sounds awesome to everybody. Snook season, real tight limits on those, 28 to 33. Usually 1 fish per boat is, I think, is what they're doing. I didn't
Per
look at
boat?
it. It's usually
I thought it was per person.
Is it? I don't know. I'm gonna
I
look
don't
it up. Oh wait, what do you use to look up fish? It's called
Fish rules.
Fish Rules. It's literally the only app you should ever use to look up fish because
It's
it does
the most
2
up to date, and it's
things.
tied through NOAA.
Yep, it's tied to NOAA. Also, it does geo-based location, which is really nice. So it is 1 fish per person. Yeah, so 1 fish per person.
So you can kill 4.
Spears, yeah, which we never will.
No.
Sorry to 28.33. Yep, we got 3 months of snook season, so if you're looking for those delicious fish, that's a way to do it. They're tough to find this time of year a little bit, so the big ones like that. So we'll see. But it's good though. It's good that we have these seasons, and hopefully you guys can get out there and get yourself some tasty meals.
Yeah.